I was 17 when it happened, old enough that my parents trusted me to stay home while they spent the weekend at my aunt's place 2 hours away. I'd opted out, wanted to hang with friends, and enjoy having the house to myself. Friday night came and went without incident. I ordered pizza, played video games until my eyes burned, the usual. But Saturday night felt different from the moment the sun went down. Around midnight, I was in the living room watching horror movies, which in hindsight was probably not the smartest choice. The house made its normal sounds, the hum of the refrigerator, the occasional creak of settling wood. Nothing unusual. Then the basement light flickered on. I could see it from where I sat, the yellow glow spilling out from under the basement door in the hallway. My stomach dropped. I'd been down there earlier to grab a soda from the extra fridge, and I knew I'd turned that light off. I always did. Dad got on my case about the electric bill. I muted the TV and listened. Nothing. Just silence and that stripe of light under the door. Maybe the switch was faulty, I told myself. Old house, old wiring. It happened, but then I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate footsteps on the concrete floor below. My breath caught in my throat. Someone was down there. The logical part of my brain scrambled for explanations. Could it be my dad? Had they come home early? But their car wasn't in the driveway. I would have heard the garage door. I grabbed my phone, hands shaking, and texted my dad. "Are you home?" 3 dots appeared, then his response. "No, why? Everything okay?" My fingers flew across the screen. "Someone's in the basement." The dots appeared again, longer this time. "Call 911. Now, lock yourself in the bathroom upstairs." I didn't need to be told twice. I bolted from the couch, taking the stairs 2 at a time. My bedroom was at the end of the hall, but the bathroom was closer, with a lock that actually worked. I slipped inside, twisted the lock, and sat on the floor with my back against the tub. The operator answered on the second ring. 911, what's your emergency? "There's someone in my house," I whispered, keeping my voice low. "In the basement. I can hear them moving around." "What's your address?" I rattled it off, my voice cracking. "Are you in a safe location right now?" "I'm locked in the upstairs bathroom." "Good. Stay there. Officers are on the way. Stay on the line with me." I pressed the phone to my ear, listening past the operator's calm voice to the sound of my house. The footsteps had stopped. Everything went quiet. Too quiet. Then I heard the basement door open. The creak of the hinges was unmistakable. Whoever was down there was coming up. "He's coming upstairs." I breathed into the phone. "Stay calm. How far away is the bathroom from the stairs?" "Not far. Maybe 10 feet. The footsteps moved through the first floor. Slow, methodical. I could track them by sound. Kitchen, living room, hallway. They stopped at the base of the stairs. My heart hammered. So hard I thought it might burst. Then he started climbing. Each step groaned under his weight. I counted them. 1, 2, 3. Halfway up now. 8, 9, 10. He was in the upstairs hallway. I held my breath, making myself as small as possible in the corner between the toilet and the tub. The operator was saying something, but I couldn't focus on her words. All I could hear was my pulse pounding in my ears and those footsteps getting closer. He tried the first door. My bedroom. The door opened with a soft click, and I heard him moving around inside. Drawers opening. My desk chair rolling. What was he looking for? Then he moved on. Spare room next. More sounds of searching. Then nothing. Silence stretched out for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds. Then the bathroom door handle rattled. He was right there, inches away from me, separated only by a thin wooden door. I bit down on my fist to keep from making a sound. "Open up," a man's voice said. It was rough like gravel. "I know you're in there." I didn't respond. Couldn't respond. My voice was gone. He tried the handle again, harder this time, shaking the door in its frame. "Come on now. Don't make this difficult." The operator's voice cut through my panic. "Police are pulling up now. 30 seconds. He must have heard the sirens too, because the rattling stopped. Footsteps retreated. Quick now, running down the stairs. The front door banged open. Voices shouted from outside. "Police!" Stop right there. More footsteps running. Then quiet again. Someone knocked on the bathroom door, and I nearly jumped out of my skin. "Ma'am, it's the police. You're safe now. You can come out." My legs barely worked as I unlocked the door and stumbled out. 2 officers stood in the hallway, one young with kind eyes, the other older and serious. "Are you hurt?" the younger one asked. I shook my head, unable to speak. They found him 3 blocks away, hiding in someone's shed. Turned out he was a contractor who'd worked on our house the previous summer. He kept a copy of our basement key, waiting for an opportunity. The police said I did everything right. Called immediately, stayed hidden, didn't try to confront him. But knowing that didn't stop the nightmares. I couldn't sleep in that house for months without every light on. Even now, years later, I check the basement before bed, every single night. I was house sitting for my older sister while she vacationed in Mexico. She just bought her first place, a small ranch house on the outskirts of town with a big backyard that backed up to woods. It was June, warm enough that I'd open a few windows to let in the breeze before settling on her couch with my laptop around 11. I was working on a paper due Monday, headphones in, completely absorbed. Movement in my peripheral vision made me glance up. The window directly across from me, the one looking out to the backyard, reflected my image, except there was something wrong with the reflection. Behind me, in the glass, was another face. I yanked out my headphones and spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. I turned back to the window, heart racing. The reflection showed only me now. Had I imagined it? I stared at the glass, searching for any sign of what I'd seen. It had been pale, I thought, with dark eyes. But maybe it was just the way the lamplight hit the window, creating shadows that my tired brain interpreted as a face. I went back to my paper, but I couldn't focus. Every few seconds, my eyes flicked to that window. Nothing. Just darkness outside and my own nervous reflection. Around midnight, I got up to use the bathroom. When I came back, I froze in the hallway. The window was open wider than I'd left it. I was sure of it. I'd cracked it maybe 3 inches. Now it was pushed up a good 6 inches, maybe more. The curtain fluttered in the breeze. My mouth went dry. I approached slowly, peering out into the yard. The motion sensor light was on, illuminating the patio and part of the grass. But beyond that, the woods were just a wall of black. I closed the window firmly and locked it, pulling the curtain across for good measure. Then I went to the whole house, checking every window, every door. All locked. I was being paranoid. I tried to go back to work, but my focus was shot. Every sound made me jump. The house settling, the air conditioner kicking on. Normal sounds, but they all felt threatening now. At 1:30, I heard a tap on glass. soft but distinct. I sat perfectly still listening. It came again. Tap, tap, tap. From the kitchen. I crept toward the sound, keeping the lights off. The kitchen window looked out onto the side yard. I pressed myself against the wall and peeked around the corner. A hand was pressed against the glass. Pale fingers splayed wide, smudging the pane. I stumbled backward, a scream catching in my throat. The hand pulled away, and a face appeared in its place. The same face I'd seen in the reflection. Gone, with hollow eyes that seemed to look right through me. I ran for my phone, dialing 911 as I backed into the corner of the living room, where I could see both the front and back of the house. 911, what's your emergency? There's someone outside my house, I said, my voice high and shaky. He's looking in the windows. What's your location? I gave her my sister's address. Is he trying to get in? I don't know. He was at the kitchen window. He put his hand on the glass. Stay inside. Lock all doors and windows. I'm sending units now. I moved to the house again, this time frantically checking every lock, pulling every curtain. When I got to the back bedroom, my blood turned to ice. The window was open, not just cracked, wide open. The screen was gone, lying in the grass outside. He'd been inside, or was still inside. I backed out of the room, eyes darting to the closet under the bed. He opened a window. I told the operator, the screen's off. I think he might be in the house. Get out, right now. Go to a neighbor's house. But I was already running for the front door, fumbling with the deadbolt. My hand shook so badly I could barely turn it. Finally, it clicked open. I burst outside into the cool night air and ran across the street to where an elderly couple lived. Their porch light was on. I pounded on the door. Help, please. Call the police. The man who answered looked startled, but let me in immediately when he saw my face. His wife called out from the living room, asking what was wrong. I explained through gasping breaths, pointing at my sister's house across the street. The police arrived minutes later, 4 cars with lights flashing. They searched the house and the yard with flashlights and dogs. They found footprints in the flower bed under the back bedroom window. Size 11 boots, pressed deep into the soil. Whoever was had stood there for a while, watching, waiting. They found more prints leading into the woods, but lost the trail after about 50 yards. He was gone. The officer who took my statement said there had been similar reports in the area. Someone looking in windows, trying doors. No break-ins yet, but they were worried it was escalating. They increased patrols, but I couldn't stay there anymore. I called my sister that night and told her everything. She came home early. We installed security cameras and motion lights all around the house. But I still wonder about that face, those hollow eyes, where he is now, whether he's watching someone else. My parents had gone to a wedding 3 hours away, leaving me home for the night. I was 15 and had stayed alone plenty of times before. No big deal. Our house was old, built in the 40s, with all the quirks that come with age. Doors that didn't quite close right, floors that creaked in specific spots, an attic accessible only by a pull-down ladder in the upstairs hallway. We rarely went up there, just old Christmas decorations and forgotten boxes. I'd spent the evening normally, made myself dinner, watched TV, scrolled through my phone. Around 10, I headed upstairs to get ready for bed. That's when I noticed it. The attic door was open, not all the way, just cracked about an inch, enough to see darkness beyond. I stopped in the hallway, staring at it, My dad always kept that door flush with the ceiling. He was particular about it, said it kept the heat from escaping. I reached up and pushed it closed, feeling the slight resistance as it seated properly. Maybe it hadn't been latched right. Maybe the house shifted. Old houses did that. I brushed my teeth, changed into pajamas, and climbed into bed. My room was at the end of the hall, and I'd left the door open a crack like always. I liked the bit of light from the hallway nightlight. Made the room less oppressive. I was almost asleep when I heard it. A soft thump from above, right above my room. The attic. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling. Nothing. Then another thump, like something being moved. Or someone walking. My heart rate picked up. Houses made noise. I knew that, but this was different. Deliberate. I got out of bed and stood in my doorway, looking down the hall at the attic door. It was open again. Not cracked this time. Fully lowered. The ladder extended down the floor. I felt cold all over. Someone had pulled that ladder down. Hello? I called out, my voice sounding small in the quiet house. No answer. The attic opening was just a black rectangle above the ladder, absorbing all light. I should have called the police right then. That's what I tell people when I retell this story. But in the moment, I convinced myself there had to be an explanation. Maybe the latch broke. Maybe I hadn't closed it properly. I walked down the hall slowly, stopping at the base of the ladder. I looked up into the darkness and felt every instinct in my body screaming at me to turn around. Is someone up there? I tried again. Silence. Then a creak, like weight shifting on old floorboards. Someone was definitely up there. I backed away fast, returning to my room and locking the door. My phone was on the charger by my bed. I grabbed it and called my dad. It rang 4 times before going to voicemail. I tried my mom. Same thing. They were probably at the reception with music too loud to hear their phones. I called again. And again. Nothing. My hands shook as I pulled up 911 but hesitated. What if I was overreacting? What if it really was just the house settling? I'd feel stupid when the police came and found nothing. But then I heard footsteps in the hallway, slow and careful, coming down the ladder. I dialed. 911, what's your emergency? Someone's in my house. I whispered. In the attic. They're coming down. Are you in a safe location? I'm locked in my bedroom. Stay there. What's your address? I gave it to her, speaking as quietly as I could. The footsteps reached the hallway floor. I could hear them clearly now, moving past my door toward the stairs. Going down. He's going downstairs. I told the operator. Officers are 3 minutes out. Stay on the line. I listened to him moving through the first floor, opening things, searching. For what? Then the footsteps came back up the stairs. I pressed myself against the far wall. Phone clutched to my chest. He stopped outside my door. The handle turned. Locked. He tried again, harder. The door rattled in its frame. I know you're in there, he said. The voice was muffled but clear. Young, maybe mid-20s. Open the door. I didn't respond. Couldn't. I'm not going to hurt you. I just need money. Open up and this'll be quick. Quick. That word sent terror through me. He wasn't here just to rob the house. The door shuddered as he kicked it. Once, twice. The frame cracked. Police are almost there, the operator said in my ear. Hold on. He kicked again, and the door burst open, hanging off one hinge. He stood in the doorway, backlit by the hall light. Tall, wearing dark clothes and ski mask. We stared at each other for a frozen moment. Then sirens wailed outside. His head snapped toward the window. Red and blue lights flashed across the walls. He ran, thundering down the stairs. The front door banged open, shouting from outside, "Police! Get on the ground!" I sank to the floor, shaking uncontrollably. An officer found me there a minute later, still holding my phone. They caught him in the backyard, trying to climb the fence. Turned out he was a local kid, 19, with a drug problem. He'd been hiding in our attic since that afternoon, waiting for everyone to leave. He'd watched us through the cracks in the attic door, learning the layout, planning. The police said I was lucky. If I'd gone up that ladder when I first saw it open, things would have ended very differently. I was 13, babysitting my younger brother while my parents went to a concert downtown. They'd be gone until after midnight. But that was fine. We'd done this before. My brother was 10, and we got along well enough to not kill each other for a few hours. We made popcorn, started a movie, typical stuff. Around 9, my brother fell asleep on the couch. I covered him with a blanket and turned down the volume, settling in to scroll through my phone. The house was quiet except for the TV and the occasional car passing outside. We lived in a suburban neighborhood, safe and boring. Nothing ever happened until the knocking started. It came from the front door. 3 quick knocks, a pause, then 3 more. Deliberate, like a pattern. I got up and looked through the peephole. Nobody there, just our empty porch and the street beyond. I unlocked the door and opened a crack, keeping the chain on. Hello? The porch was definitely empty. I closed the door and relocked it, checking the deadbolt twice. Probably kids playing ding-dong ditch. I went back to the couch. 5 minutes later, the knocking came again. Same pattern. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks. From the back door this time. My stomach tightened. I walked to the kitchen and looked out the window. Nobody. The backyard was dark, illuminated only by the porch light. Nothing moved out there. I stood there for a long moment, watching. Then I heard it again. The front door. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks. Someone was circling the house. I grabbed my phone and called my dad. It went to voicemail. I tried my mom. Same. The concert must have started. I sent them both texts. Someone's knocking on the doors. Front and back. Can't see anyone. I debated calling the police, but felt stupid. What would I say? Someone knocked on my door? While I stood there, the knocking came again. Side door now, the one leading to the garage. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks. My brother stirred on the couch. "What's that noise?" he mumbled. "Nothing. Go back to sleep." But he sat up, rubbing his eyes. "Someone's knocking." I know. It's probably just kids. It doesn't sound like kids. He was right. There was something methodical about it. Testing. The knocking started again. Back door. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 knocks. Then silence. I waited, counting in my head. 30 seconds. A minute. Nothing. Maybe they left. My brother said hopefully. Maybe. But I didn't believe it. I turned off the TV and all the downstairs lights, plunging us into darkness. If someone was watching the house, I didn't want them seeing where we were. "Come on," I whispered to my brother. Upstairs. We crept up to my parents' room, which had a window overlooking the front yard. I peeked out through the curtain. A figure stood at the edge of our driveway, half hidden by the neighbor's tree, just standing there, looking at the house. I ducked back, heart racing. There's someone out there, I told my brother. His eyes went wide. What do we do? Call the police. I dialed 911, keeping my voice low as I explained the situation. The operator asked if the person had tried to force entry. No, just knocking, but they're walking around the house. And now they're just standing in the driveway, watching. I'm sending a unit now. Stay inside with the doors locked. Can you describe the person? I peeked out again. Tall, wearing dark clothes. I can't see their face. They're just standing there. Officers are 5 minutes away. Those 5 minutes felt eternal. I watched the figure through the gap in the curtain. They didn't move, didn't even seem to shift weight. Just stood there like a statue, facing our house. Then, as if they'd heard something, they turned and walked away. Not running, just walking calmly down the street and around the corner. They're leaving, I told the operator. Which direction? East, toward the park. The police arrived 3 minutes later. 2 cars, lights off. They searched the property and the surrounding streets, but found nothing. No footprints, no sign of anyone. The officer who took my statement said there have been similar reports recently. Someone casing houses, looking for easy targets. You did the right thing calling immediately, he said. Some people wait, try to convince themselves it's nothing. That's when things go bad. They stayed until my parents got home at 12:30. My mom hugged me tight, apologizing for not hearing her phone. My dad checked every lock and window twice. The police never caught whoever it was. The report stopped after about 2 weeks. Maybe they moved to a different neighborhood. Maybe they found what they were looking for elsewhere. I think about that figure sometimes, standing in our driveway, watching the house. What were they waiting for? What would have happened if I'd been braver or stupider and opened the door? Some questions I'm grateful I'll never have an answer. But I'll never forget that knocking pattern. 3 knocks, pause, 3 knocks. When I hear it now, even years later, my body goes cold. Drop in the comment section where you are watching from. It is my pleasure to know the places these stories travel to.